Okay, let me pray real quick, and then we're going to jump into our personal development talk. If you're new or you haven't been here for a really long time, basically what I do on at every stream, we start with sort of a chat, hello, and then we jump into talking about something that will hopefully improve your life, improve your job, improve your relationships, and just like develop you personally into becoming the kind of person that you wanted to be, that is successful and helpful and meaningful, and can see their life from a positive perspective, instead of being like, I don't know where to go from here. These are little kind of things you can do in order to be able to alter yourself in such a way that you can reach your potential. That's what I want for you. I believe that everybody, no matter how broken or how difficult their life has been, or how sinful they were, or how hurt anybody has the potential to be used by God in an amazing way. The potential to change the world, can be successful and fruitful and meaning, and have a meaningful life. I believe that completely, that there's nobody who's written off. If you're alive and you're breathing, then there's something for you to do, and there's some way that you can contribute to the world. And there are a lot of people who are going through mental health issues, they're going through physical health issues, they're going through learning disability issues, or their abuse issues, or PTSD stuff, or all kinds of things, and it makes them, some of them makes them feel like they're never going to get better, like they've been permanently damaged, and therefore they're like a car with 4 flat tires. Like, yeah, sure, I've got an engine, sure, I've got a purpose, yes, I was built, but I can't go anywhere because I'm the fundamental thing that gets me going is broken. And so my mission here, my hope is to go, actually, with some effort, with a little bit of education, a little bit of accountability, a little bit of relationship, a little bit of thought, we can start changing those tires, and we can get you to the place where you can keep going. It's really possible. My part of my story is just that I've been through a lot. I'm not going to give you the whole thing. If you're curious, ! My story. You can see my story if you want to, and it will allow you to kind of understand a little bit about kind of what I went through when I was growing up, and what I went through when I was going through work, and what my church life has been, et cetera, et cetera. And one would assume, after kind of hearing that story and the things that have happened since, that I would be either too broken to contribute anything, too miserable to be able to be positive, or too hurt to be able to be used by God in any kind of meaningful way. And that's just not true. God has been very gracious to me, and I'm doing some stuff that has been mind-blowingly cool. Not because I'm so awesome, I'm kind of a mess, but because God is awesome, and I believe that if we follow his way and we do things his way, we can actually have a pretty interesting life. So let me pray, and then we'll jump into what we're talking about today. God, thank you for your love. Thank you for your joy that comes from you. Thank you for the relationships we can have, for everybody who comes to stream today, for everybody who is at home working or looking for distraction, or has some free time. I pray for those who are not feeling well, that you would bless them and help them understand that this is a chance for them to grow in an understanding of you and an understanding of themselves. Pray for those who are going through sadness or grief, and that they look out and they can see you at work, and that they can sense your presence, bringing them comfort. Pray for those who have deep concerns, anxieties and fears and worries about practical things, money and life and rent and all, and relational stuff, wondering who they're gonna meet, and how they're gonna feel better, and how they're going to find forgiveness, and how they're going to create bridges and all that. God, you are the foundation of all these things. If we can get right with you, we can listen to you, and we can listen to your word, then you will guide us through. I know that's true. I know it's true for me, and I know it's true for everybody. Pray for Augie's wife, that you'd bless her, help her, that she would be able to recover well. And I just thank you for walking with us every step of the way, being part of every little bit of our life, not just gigantic stuff, but every step. In Jesus' name, amen. Oh, I can feel my head just like clogging. Okay, number 3. In case you don't know, what we've been doing lately is we have been going through a book on, well, how do I do this? I like, it's hard. The reason I'm stumbling is I don't know how far back I want to go. Okay, so essentially we're doing the John Maxwell Equipped Leadership Training, and it is a 6-book series, and each book has 6 lessons in it, and each lesson has like a bunch of sub lessons in it. And so the book 1 is what I use for the Christian content creation class, and we're doing that on Fridays, and you know, people really like it. And then book 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I've decided to go online. Hi Chovy, good to see you, man. And so going through that online, we're taking it really slow. Instead of doing like plugging through and doing a whole class where it's an hour and a half, we're just doing one at a time. We just covered in the last book, kind of talking about how thank you.
I do have PT but will be lurking. Have a great one.
All right, man. Have a good PT. You're up early. Good for you. I hope you're well rested and able to do your PT well. So yeah, last book was really about how our perspective, how our relationships are really key, right? How we treat people, our baggage, all the stuff that's happening inside of us will affect our relationships and cause our, you know, insecurities and whatnot, and that's going to shoot us in the foot. That's what all the last book was about, book 2. And we finished that up. If you want to go, if you're interested, you can go to the YouTube channel and you can go watch all those videos. They're all there. And then this time we've jumped into book 3, and it starts basically with your attitude is the key to everything. Right? It literally is just like, you know what? If you can get your attitude right, you're 99% of the way there. And it's quite true. Like it sounds very a little too easy to be true. As in, like, all I got to do is change my attitude, and my life will get better. And that's kind of sort of. It essentially comes down to how you approach life is going to be how you live life. How you perceive life is going to change how you react to life, right? What's happening on the inside and all the things that you see and all the ways that you experience the world is going to cause you to make certain decisions. It's going to cause you to say certain things, whatever. And so therefore, if you can fix what's going on the inside, fix your perspective, fix kind of like how you perceive the world, it'll change your reaction to it. And by changing your reaction, your relationships will change, your job perspectives will change, your future will change. That's what matters. We talked about some biblical principles about attitude, right? That's where we're going. Attitude is not one of those things easy to say change. It's hard to change, but it is changeable, right? There's some people in this world, and I'll you know, I guess I can go on a little bit of a rant, but really there's sort of this thing happening right now in culture where if you have mental health issues, if you struggle with sexual identity, if you struggle with, you know, abuse issues or whatever, you know, emotional issues, educational issues, then you can take that and use that as your excuse for why you don't accomplish things, or for why you're allowed to have a bad attitude, or for why you can't get a good job, or for why your relationships are wrecked, or for why, you know, whatever. It's the economy. It's external stuff. And because of the external stuff, whatever that external stuff is, or my genetics, or my upbringing, or whatever, it has given me a burden. It has given me, you know, kind of a problem that I can't overcome. And because I can't overcome it, I have the excuse to say, this is who I'll be forever. Right? This is who I'll be forever. And like, for example, the classic example I would use is if you go online and you talk to somebody, and you mention about depression, and somebody says something about depression, somebody will jump on it no matter what you say. You can support it, and you can say supportive things, you can say non-supportive things. Someone's going to get upset because depression has become their identity. That's just it. That's who they are. I can't, because depression. For example, like if you go on and you say, you know what would really help if you're depressed? If you get some fresh air, some sunshine, eat a vegetable, and you know, take a shower. That's true. However, you say that online, or you say that to people, they don't hear, yeah, that would probably help. They hear an attack. They say things like, that's impossible. You don't understand mental health issues. You don't realize how difficult it is. You don't realize that it's impossible for me to do all those things because of my mental health issues. And the truth is that it's not impossible. It's just really, really, really hard, right? It's not impossible. It's just far more difficult for you, or far more difficult for people who struggle with that mental health issue than it is for others. It is not impossible to get to the shower. It is not impossible to do your daily devos. It is not impossible to choose a healthy food. It's not impossible for you to call a friend. It's not. It's just really, really, really hard. It's far harder for you. So therefore, when they see something like, get up, take a walk, go outside, get some sunshine, their reaction isn't, yep, you're right, that'd help. It's anger towards that person, right? They go, no, you're wrong. How dare you? I'm a victim of this mental health issue, or this PTSD issue, or abuse, or whatever like that. And because I'm a victim, I can't change. That's just the way it is. This is how I'll be forever. I think of people with anger. People with anger are like this. They consistently blame others for their own reactions, right? Somebody will say something and they'll fly off the handle. They'll do something violent. They'll do something. They'll say some mean stuff, and then they'll when they calm down, they say, well, that's just how I react to things. It's how I grew up. That's how my dad used to react, or that's just how I've always been, or because of whatever issue in my past, that's just what I've created as a coping mechanism. Therefore, the world must bend and understand, and I don't have to change anything. I know I've offended everybody, and I know I'm mad at everybody, and I know everybody's, people are hurt now, but I should get a free pass because this is how I am, right? It's true that this is a very difficult thing for you. It's true that this is really hard for you. It is not true that you must be violent, that you must be insulting, that you must hurt people around you when you get upset. That is not true. Your attitude, and this is where we're going, is your attitude is the difference between success and failure. Do you believe it's possible? Do you believe change is possible? Do you believe that it is overcomable? Do you believe that you can become a different person, that you are on a trajectory that is up, and that if you hit a bad day, it's less bad days than last month, and that's better, and you're going up? Or do you believe that this is who you're going to be forever? This is how you're going to be forever, and there's no way that you can ever change? Because if that's where you're at, then that's where you're going to stay. Whereas if you say, I've seen people change, I know I can change, I've had good days, I understand that can happen, and through whatever process, I'm going to figure this out, and I'm going to find ways that I can make more good days than bad, because I believe that's possible. That will lead you to success, right? That's what we're kind of talking about here. It's true in business. It's true in sales. I'll never sell anything. Or I'm learning how to sell. I need more practice. Let's go. Same thing, right? I'll never be able to lose weight, or losing weight is really, really hard. I got to try something else. I've seen it done. I know it can be done. I've done it a little bit before. It can be done. Your attitude is going to change everything about how you approach and believe whether or not it's going to work. Like I said, well, most mental health has health disorder creating it. So it's like maybe halfway not their fault. Mental health becomes its own addiction. It becomes an obsession, I think, Riker, is because people like their sin, because people like attention, because people like doing dumb, bad, harmful, addictive stuff to make themselves feel better. Because all that is true, whatever they can find that feeds that negative side, they will gravitate towards, right? You got somebody who says, you know what? You have this issue, therefore it's okay. You can be a jerk, or you can go and eat yourself sick, or you can stay in bed all day long, or you don't have to get a job. We'll just give you money. And you can have that person, or you can have the ones that go, No, like we believe in you. We think we can help you. We think you can move forward. We think that there's ways you can do this. We'd like to help you develop some tools. We'd like you to move forward, but it's going to take you some work, and it's going to take you some effort, and you're going to have to do some self-denial. You're going to have to say no to some stuff and do some things that are uncomfortable, right? If you which one are you going to gravitate towards? The ones that make life uncomfortable, or the ones that tell you that everything's okay and that all of your decisions, no matter how unhealthy, are fine because of your issue? You're going to go to the one that makes you feel better about doing things that are not as good, because this is hard. It's just the way that's how it becomes in this obsession. And so you listen to this echo chamber, and you live in this echo chamber of mental health issues that is like, yep, it's impossible. Yep, nobody understands us. Yep, this is my identity. And then you do stuff like you buy the depression bumper sticker, and you get the depression t-shirt, and you get the depression hat, and your wallpaper is about depression on your phone, and you're the like everything. It becomes like you become like a fanboy of depression, and it just becomes who you are. In the same way that like you cheer for a sports team, you're on the depression team. And anybody who challenges your team, anybody who says anything negative about it, you get all upset. Or anybody who says something you disagree, you get upset. It's like folks who are like obsessed with pick a sports player. Somebody says, well, actually, they're not very good at this. That could be true, right? They could be the best hockey players, football player, basketball player ever, but they probably are not good at something. If you're an obsessed fan, if you're just like completely sold out that that's the best person ever, you can't hear criticism. You refuse. You get upset on their behalf. In the same way that if you are fanboy of depression, mental health issues, whatever, your learning disability, your favorite, whatever, is if you hear something like, well, actually, some people have it worse, or actually, there's ways around that, or actually there are coping mechanisms for it, or actually, you're going to feel challenged instead of being able to have a reasonable conversation about it, and you'll get upset. It's the same difference. So, talking about attitude, Proverbs 4:23 says, watch over your heart and guard it with all diligence, for from it flow the springs of life. Right? Watch over your heart. And you're in the Bible, your heart is usually the seedbed of your emotions, of your will, of your thought processes, over how you perceive and react to the world. Watch over your heart, the personality that you have, the what's you, that's going on the inside. Guard it, your emotional well-being, your psychological well-being, your religious and your relational well-being, all that stuff going on inside. Guard it with diligence, as in be careful with it. Be proactive in recognizing that the things you do in this world are going to negatively affect your heart, negatively affect your life, negatively affect your perspective, negatively affect your future, negatively affect your perspective on people, on the world, on the news, on culture, on whatever. Be careful with that. Recognize it, guard it, be careful that you don't let anybody hurt it or affect it or taint it. Be diligent, as in it's going to take work, because your life comes from your heart. Your life comes from what's happening on the inside of you, how you will live your life based on what's going on in here, right? So therefore, what that's saying is basically we need to be diligent about what we put into our life and how we react to things. The book of Proverbs remind us of how important our attitude is towards life. Out of our heart flows the springs of life. Think about it. You are only an attitude away from victory. There's an interesting little quote that we can talk about. An Olympic gold medal winner once said, I believe the only difference between gold and silver medals is their attitude, not their ability. Now, I'm not sure I can get quite on board with that completely. You know what I mean? Like, that is a pretty bold statement. It's you're only an attitude away from victory. I think what it means, right? I think what it means at its core is basically your attitude. Well, and that's it, right? I mean, if you just had a positive attitude, everything would work out for you. That can't be what it's saying, because that's not true. I think what it is that if the trajectory towards victory, the trajectory towards, getting over that hurt, or getting into the relationship you want, or finding the position or your mission in life, your purpose in life, or getting right with your spouse or friends or whatever, like the thing that you want, weight loss or whatever, is the trajectory starts with your attitude towards it. I think that's what it is. If you start here with your change of attitude from it can't be done to it can be done, or it's impossible to it's possible, to I can't do this, to I can find a way to do this, right? If you can do that, if you can change that, then the trajectory from failure to failure changes to a trajectory to victory, because that attitude matters that much. Olympic gold, medal winners saying that the difference between gold and silver medals is attitude. I'm not an Olympic gold medal anything, so who am I to say? But that the person who's very good at it and amazing at it and gold level at it, versus the person who's very gold level at it and is having a bad day, or has been shot in the foot with some kind of tragedy, or is starting to have doubts in their head, or is starting to feel like maybe they don't belong there, or there should have been someone else, or they whatever, like that really does matter. We know that in a military, morale matters. We know that on a sports team, morale matters. We know that in success and in business and in everywhere, your morale, as in how you're feeling positively about the situation you're in as a group or an individual, it really does change the outcome. So therefore, if we change this to the difference between gold and silver is how they're feeling emotionally, on the day, or how they're feeling about themselves in that moment, can be the difference. And I think that's absolutely true, right? You can have two equal armies on one side or the other, same amount of people, same amount of weapons, same amount of everything. If this one believes they can win and this one is terrified that they're about even going into the battle, there's a good chance that the one who believes that they're going to win is going to win, because that matters. The morale matters. So if that's what we're talking about, then I can get on board with that, because that attitude really will change the outcome. It really does. Proverbs also lists some abominations to the Lord. Consider them for a moment. Pride, coveting, lust, envy, anger, gluttony, and slothfulness are all matters of the attitude. All right, let's talk about that for a sec. Pride, coveting, lust, envy, anger, gluttony, and slothfulness are matters of attitude. So it's a matter of how you think, a matter of your perspective on self and others in the world. So pride, obviously, the abominations to the Lord. In other words, things that God really hates, like legitimately hates these. It destroys people. It destroys relationships. It destroys the world. It just wrecks everything. Here's some things that God hates. Pride, as in thinking too much of oneself, or thinking oneself better than others, or putting oneself in the place of God, or whatever pride is, right? That really is an attitude. It's how do you see others? How do you see God? How do you see yourself? What do you think you're worth? What do you think that you are capable of? And what do you think other people are worth and capable of? Right? Somebody who's arrogant and prideful, the Bible says, that comes before a fall. It's true, right? People hate prideful people. They really do. It ends up shooting them in the foot, because they don't ask for help, because they don't go looking for a team, because they are terrified to have somebody smarter than them in the group, because it might hurt their pride, and so therefore they ruin their lives, right? That attitude is going to ruin whatever they're doing. Coveting, right? As in the I want what they have. They shouldn't have what they have. I deserve it. That's what coveting is. It's not just I like your thing. It's you don't deserve that as much as I deserve that. Give me that. I deserve it more. I'm angry with you because of the thing you have, right? I covet that. I want it to be mine at your expense, right? That's an attitude. It means that you believe yourself to be either worth more, or believe yourself to be more valuable, or believe yourself to be more needy, or more hurt, or more sadder, or more impoverished than others. And so you want to take from them because you deserve. That's obviously going to wreck a lot of your life if you perceive everybody around you as taking from you, as having things you deserve, of being the ones who have made it so that you have lack. That's going to wreck everything. Lust, obviously, is an attitude. Lust is basically seeing something you want and wanting to dominate it, to use it up, right? Usually in the realm of male female relations, sexual stuff, you look at the person and you don't see a person. You see an object, you see a means to an end, you see something that will build you up, make you look good, something that will feed an insecurity that you have. That's why when I'll speak from a guy, right? Like, you look at that hot girl over there is going to make me look cool. If I can get with that hot girl over there, it's going to make me feel better about myself, make me feel more attractive about myself. If I could be with that person, I would feel more successful and more loved and more whatever. Like, it's not about that person at all. It is about, I want to use that person to get something I want, to fix something I have. And if that's how you're perceiving people, right? If you're seeing people as objects to be used, people that I can use up and spit out and change and interchange, right? For example, like, your lust never stays on one person. It's never just like, oh, that one person forever. That would be great if that's how that worked, because then it would be your wife and you'd move on, or whatever, your husband, right? But it's like, it always changes, because you use up that person, you spit them out, you use up that person, you spit them out, and that's just how it works. And you end up ruining your entire relationship with the human race because of that, right? Envy, that's another example. It's you look at somebody, like, they have something that they're in a position, or that I want to be in. They have this a situation that I want to be in. That I wish that I could be there, right? It's a matter of, I want to take from them. Same kind of deal as coveting. Anger, unrighteous anger. Nothing wrong with anger. You can be angry all you want. Unrighteous anger, anger out of control, anger that's misplaced, anger for the wrong reasons, that kind of stuff's going to mess you up, obviously. Gluttony, the attitude of gluttony is essentially, my appetites always deserve fulfillment. Self-denial is not something I need to do, right? If I want it, I should have it. If I feel it, I should do it. If I see it and I want it, I should be able to consume it. If I have an impulse, I should be able to fulfill that impulse, right? That's gluttony. And obviously that's going to ruin everything, because you are out of control, because you're awash with impulses at all times. You are awash with the desire for whatever's in front of you and whatever's over there. And, it's like, you can't even go to the restaurant. You look at the menu and, like, this is the thing I want. And you put it down, and then somebody orders something across the table and you're like, I want that. Right? Like, it never goes away. And if that's how you live your life, and that's how you exist in the world, you will never be satiated. You will never be happy. You will never be fulfilled. You will always be sick. You will always be frustrated, and it'll ruin your body, your life, your everything, right? These are attitude things. Same with slothfulness. Other people need to do what I can live on what other people do. I don't need to do anything. Everybody should do everything for me. Like, I have no need to contribute, because everything is being contributed, or they deserve to serve me. I don't know. It's all attitude, right? So if you have these, and we all do in some extent or another, it's going to destroy your ability to be successful, right? The opposite, like humility and generosity and fidelity, right? Self-control, diligence, those things, which is the opposite of those are things that get you to success. Conversely, the right attitude can make up for a lack of resources. Many leaders in the past have accomplished great things without any resources other than a positive attitude of faith. That's an interesting little line. Trying to remember who they are. I'm sure it's true. But can it make up for a lack of resources? It sure can. You know what I mean? Like, is the difference between say the streamer, right? A wealthy streamer with all the tech and all the cool stuff and a whole team and all the rest of that being all cool, versus a who has a bad attitude and uses people and is getting in trouble and ruining their reputation and whatnot, versus somebody with a good attitude, somebody who is positive, somebody who is diligent, somebody who's working hard but doesn't have a ton of resources, right? Which one do you think is going to be more godly, more successful, have a more meaningful life? And obviously it's going to be the one that is trying really hard, that is working with towards trying to be a servant-hearted attitude, versus the one that's just trying to, just has a lot of stuff. How many of us have clicked away from a content creator because of their attitude? Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Right. It's man, that makes me upset, or that makes me sad, or that person will not shut up about that topic, or man, they're really angry, or man, they're really racist, or man, they're really sexist, or man, they're really, why would they keep talking about that one thing all the time, or I don't like how they approach that. And you're like, yeah, it's all attitude stuff. And really, if you want to come down to it, I care deeply about training streamers and content creators. This is the truth. The difference between success and failure on your stream and your content, in your development of your mission and your purpose in life, is going to be your attitude. How you approach it, how you see it, how you see others, how you see the work, how you see the importance of your schedule and your quality and whatnot. If you have, if any of that stuff's missing, you're not going to be very successful. Your attitude super matters. Let's talk a little bit about that for a bit. How do you fix your attitude? What's your attitude like right now? What attitude do you struggle with? What have you gotten over in the past? How have you noticed that attitude has mattered, either from an audience perspective or from a creator perspective? Let's talk about some of that kind of stuff. Let me pray, and then we'll jump into the chatting. God, thank you for the day, for your love and for your care. I pray that you would help our discussion to be fruitful. Thank you that you are the one who fixes our attitude. That when we come to you and we see who we really are, it means that we are humbled completely, because we are sinners in need of a Savior who cannot save ourselves, utterly powerless. But we're also people who are infinitely loved and can do nothing to be more loved. That we have value because we are yours. We're made in your image. You are seeing through your eyes fixes our attitude towards ourselves, the others in the world. Help us do that. In Jesus' name, amen.